A bill to allow the Port Authority to issue LNG bunkering licences in Gibraltar was published in the Gazette last week. The Minister for the Port, Gilbert told GBC that there will be a demand and that he expects Gibraltar to become a pioneer in this field. However, the environmental safety group says it's been involved in the LNG process from the beginning, but adds the health and safety laboratory reports say quite clearly that Gibraltar's plant is not big enough for bunkering.
I find it confusing, and maybe that something that needs a bit of clarification. We have the Chief Minister's guarantee in a public statement made in, I think, 2015, in which he said that the plant was much too small to cater for bunkering. And obviously with the HSL report that I've just mentioned, it's a little bit contradictory, so I find that it needs clarification, and we hope that, I'm sure that we will get it at some point.
The ESG says it still hasn't seen the COMA report, the Control of Major Accident Hazard, adding this would need airing at the DPC before the station is commissioned.
I would have thought that if there is bunkering process intended for the future, then there will need to be a proper report done, a detailed view on how it's going to be done, presumably by Shell, because they are the contractor, and then a risk assessment undertaken and a safety report done and made aware to the public, because I think that the clarity and transparency which has been in this what is a new industry for us, it needs to carry on, and as a pressure group ourselves, we'll try and make sure that it does carry on.
While debate has centred around the LNG safety plant, the ENG believes there's been insufficient public consultation on LNG bunkering, adding this might not be right for Gibraltar.
You know, the Minister's vision on a bay full of LNG filled ships might be his vision of the future. It might not be everybody's. And I personally feel that Gibraltar is too small, and it's an unrealistic target to have that Gibraltar will be a leader in LNG bunkering. With the amount of available space we have, the close proximity of the residential areas to the port, I think it's an untenable situation.
The government says the ESG has totally misunderstood the recent developments and has jumped to a number of conclusions which could have been quickly clarified had it been consulted. Number 6 says the port is not gearing up to allow barge refuelling, but is simply enabling the legislation to allow future LNG bunkering companies to apply for a licence should the need arise, and also following all necessary safety assessments. It adds the LNG plant is designed to supply the power station and not to supply LNG bunkers to vessels. Nevertheless, it adds the shipping industry is moving towards adopting the burning of cleaner fuels on vessels, and LNG is one of the best options at present. The government accepts the demand for LNG is not high, but says Gibraltar, being one of the most important bunkering ports in the Med, has to prepare for future demands when these arise. Number 6 confirms the amendment to the Port Operation Act has no link to the LNG plant to supply the power station.